And I just realized there's actually a way more spicier RH tweet about the exchange topic that I thought there was another good one because I had in my notes that he called them trash, and sure enough, I did find. I finally found this one. So this was his first one from that day. I'll send it to you if you want to get it up on the screen. And I didn't mean to spend this much time on this, but this is juicier though. All right, so he says why sex, and that's what I'm going to call it from now on. Why sex listings are trash. If you look at much of the coins listed on a sex, they just die. Why? Because who cares? What makes prices go up is buyers, not listers. If someone really wants to buy, they'll find a way. I think that is a good point. Why else do sexes suck? They often steal your money or get hacked. Why else? Thin order books. You mentioned that, Ewok. When the majority of your liquidity is on chain, people can execute into it globally and everyone gets more efficient order execution. Take this example. World 1, where you buy ETH on a SEX, bridge it to PulseChain and swap it for Pulse. Your bid in the massive Ethereum order book, second largest market cap in crypto. Then you bid that into the first largest market cap liquidity place in the world, PulseX on PulseChain. That's quite efficient. World 2, you buy directly in a SEX, and that has 10 to 100x less liquidity than PulseX. You get far less Pulse than your money, which that is a huge thing.
Yeah.
If the centralized exchange is hacked or robs the customers are robbed of ETH, not Pulse, because it's not listed. Nice. One of the few actual advantages to a centralized exchange listing is saving money on gas, but you can do that too by bridging from a chain cheaper than Ethereum. Totally right. That's why we covered SparkSwap, because you can use Arbitrum or BNB on there. In summary, decentralized finance has some very nice advantages over centralized finance, which I don't think that many are going to disagree with that. He said, if ever you were going to list on a SEX, do try to list on ones with real users and hopefully are less likely to steal your money. A way to see if an exchange has real users or not is to look at the balance of their cold wallet on Etherscan. So once again, he's pointing people back to looking on chain to see what's actually going on. He said, I'm not commenting on the quality of any SEX. I'm just telling you a tip on how to tell who has real users or not. So, it's a saucy, funny tweet, but it also, he got into the weeds on it and really filled it out. Yeah. And it's hard to disagree with him on that. And you and I talked about this the other night. Corey Costa replied to that and said, with the utmost respect, Richard, you said in Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX were the ones that do the work. And now some people are doing work to get listed on a centralized exchange because it's an easier way to onboard people than DeFi. Sorry, but it's true. I think it is if you angle it that way to people. But what do you want from us, man? This tweet will lead to more divide than there already is in this community. And I don't see the sense in reading the rest of that part. I don't really agree with that. But Corey, either way, Corey's opinion here, and we'd like Corey. Obviously, you've been on his program, and he does a hell of a lot for the PulseChain community. He has people on, one of the few people that has people on from outside the community, which is very cool. But yeah, what do you make to an argument like that, though? To me, we said this a couple of weeks ago. If you're trying to onboard somebody new, it's also kind of in your presentation. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to angle it that it's that much harder or that much easier. It's all about how you learn the first way, I think. So anyway, what do you make of
that? Rather than post this and say we're going to do it, this is essentially Corey saying we're going to do it anyway, which he didn't really have to say. You know what I mean? It's all good, man. He's only giving us his advice. And just like a parent, you're either going to, or a parent and their kid, you're either going to take it or you're not, right? Most parents give you advice as you're growing up. And a lot of times when you don't listen, things happen, right? Where you end up learning that you probably should have listened. And it's okay. That's how we learn what not to do, what to do. Maybe one of these times or a couple of these times, he'll be wrong and it will turn into something good or lead to another listing or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't feel the need to argue with him online and just say, that was more along the, what do you want from us, man, kind of comment. It doesn't, if you really want to do it, we're going to find a way to do it. If they want to, they'll do it. If they don't, then whatever. If they say, well, Richard said we probably shouldn't, let's maybe think of ways we can onboard people. You know, he did say in something else, one of the best ways to onboard people is direct messaging. He's always said that.
Mhm.
Postcards work. Um, and I'm sure he would much rather take those funds and send it out to very wealthy type neighborhoods, where they're maybe going to read it, maybe they're going to throw it in the garbage, but they're going to see it. They're going to see the name, and some will read it and some will get involved. I just
Mhm.
I think that's a better way to spend the money, personally, because we know it works.
Yeah, I think so too, and I know Richard's talked about that in the past. I thought Brizology, who was in the chat earlier tonight, had a not, I mean, an insightful comment anyway in reply to Corey. He just said sometimes lots of money is raised for unfruitful events like the NASCAR, for example.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, it's not like the end of the world or anything like that, but yeah, I mean, if anything, like I said, credit to Crypto Coffee, who's really spearheading it and trying to do it. You know, you get it on there, and he had a comment on there too that he's not going to be like pumping up or talking about MEXC a whole bunch after the listing or anything. It's just to get it done. So
yeah.
hey, I
He
mean,
he calls it a slight benefit of attention or awareness outweighing the cost. I
mhm,
I don't know. I don't know if it will outweigh it or not. I don't know if that's the case, but again, if these guys want to do it, I'm going to support them. I'll always support people's efforts even if I don't agree with it. Um, just I won't be putting money into it. But I wish them well, and I hope it does something good. Again, we can't use it in the United States anyway, so it doesn't do
right,
us any good.
right. Yeah, it's more of an attention thing. So, I thought it was a really interesting back and forth though, just because there's been this trend of like, what investors in the community might think versus what Richard may or may not think, and then all of a sudden he drops a Twitter bomb and everybody, kind of
Yeah.
goes up in arms.
Yep.
So, I thought it was pretty funny. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, good stuff. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I mean, again, Crypto Coffee does so much, I think, for the community. He just had a great liquidity providing video today. I mean, that dude's always on top of this stuff. So
Sure.
regardless, shout out to him.